If I talk about latest guide in 2025, so Ankit, कौन से ऐसे sectors हैं where you are seeing explosive growth?
I would say more than sector, the key is job types, specialist technology roles, your AI based roles, your analytics, cybersecurity.
How much hike they can expect this year?
I don't know if I'm breaking any hearts, but there are no monumental hikes going around at this moment in time.
What are some of the mistakes that candidates should avoid when they are applying for a role?
You need to be very clear as a candidate what is your specialist skill. Yeah, you need to be clear about it. You need to upgrade it, and you need to market it.
What is the impact of AI that you anticipate both in short term and in long term?
The job market will be and is already starting to be quite a bit impacted in a way that the kind of skills needed in people are changing. The journey has only started, I would say, in the last 2-3 years. This is going to accelerate at a faster pace in the next 5 years.
Hi everyone, welcome to new episode of Growthcast podcast, and today I have with me Ankit Agarwala, who is country head for Michael Page. Inki India Salary Guide, holy grail for working professionals to come and understand recent trends in the market. We are going to discuss with him the latest trend, what are the things that you should be knowing as a working professional. So stay till the end and press the subscribe button to get more such content on your feed. Hi Ankit, welcome to Growthcast podcast, and thank you so much for taking out time. Before I start with my set of questions, would like to understand your career journey and how everything is started for you.
Sure, a pleasure to be here, Shashank. Thanks for having me. I've been working 16 years with Page Group, uh,
That's
better
huge.
known as Michael Page by many of our partners, but we are much more beyond Michael Page. My journey started in Singapore with Page Group. Uh, I moved to India a few years later as we were setting up and expanding our business here. And it's been a great career, I must say. I've been very fortunate to have had a lot of opportunity to do many great things and change many lives. Before Page, I was a banker. I worked a few years with Citi, spent many years in Singapore, hail from Delhi. So yeah, that's me.
Great, great, great. I think I'll move ahead. And one thing which every working professional generally looks out to is your salary guide, because that is their holy grail. It basically gives them a number that they can take to HR during their salary negotiation. If I talk about latest guide in 2025, so Ankit, कौन से ऐसे sectors are where you are seeing explosive growth or new offshoots that are coming up, if you'd like to audience to know that? Yeah.
Sure, Shashank. I would say more than sector, the key is job types,
Right.
because there is no one sector which stands out as compared to others, but certainly certain job types are commanding a premium in the market today. And there are few broad categories, right? I think the more well-known one are the specialist technology roles, your AI based roles, your analytics, cybersecurity, etc. They are definitely commanding a premium in the market today. Then you have another interesting body of roles, which is manufacturing and supply chain.
Okay.
This is a sector which is expanding very rapidly across consumer, healthcare, industrial, etc., defense. So specialist roles in these domains are definitely commanding a premium today. You also have compliance and legal as another body of roles which is commanding a premium because of the kind of regulatory environment that we are operating in
Right.
now. And a more recent entrant to this category is sustainability related roles.
Okay.
Roles in ESG, roles in public policy, roles in government affairs. Uh, these are very important roles now for organizations and are commanding a premium as well.
So, Ankit, are you seeing
Yeah.
Indian companies coming up with these roles, or there are foreign MNCs also now establishing their presence in India and they are looking to hire people having these skills?
Both, Shashank, and different companies need it for different reasons. Like I said, the underlying reason is that the working environment has changed a lot, right? You have a big focus on profitability today from every organization. I think the age of top line is behind us,
Right.
right? Everyone is focused on the bottom dollar. Is it a profitable model? Is every role in the organization contributing to that profitability? So that's one very, very clear scenario. The second scenario is that there is a very fast changing regulatory environment.
Right.
Uh, and the pace of regulatory change is often so acute that businesses find it very hard to keep up with this change. And it really impacts businesses in a big way, as you may have seen and heard with the gaming industry
Right. Right.
recently.
Recent ban. Yeah.
Hence, a new body of roles and new skills have come into to demand. And then you have a very, very healthy mix of foreign MNCs building up their organizations in India, Indian conglomerates who control a large part of the economy in the country, as well as your younger Indian organizations, be it startups or the smaller family run businesses which are
Right.
looking to modernize. So you have a very interesting and dynamic mix today of organizations which we've probably never had before. And all this is contributing to a unique work environment
Right. Right.
today.
Yeah, very rightly said. I think in
Yeah.
today's era, if you have a skill, you have some other job that can basically suit that skill.
Yeah.
Ankit, I'll come to one question which is in mind of every working professional. How much hike they can expect this year? Would you like to touch base on that?
Yeah. Look, we are in an environment of moderation right now. I don't know if I'm breaking any hearts, but there are no monumental hikes going
Oh,
around at this moment in time. If you have some key skills, you definitely have more opportunities, but it's not as if you land up with 50% hike.
which
So
was happening back in
which
2021.
was certainly happening few years back. But to come back to your question, Shashank, look, the average still lingers around that 9 to 10% annual increment mark, but it varies starkly across sectors, job type, seniority. So this is only a average or a mean, but it will vary a lot.
Got it.
Yeah.
So Ankit, I think 9 to 10% is internal hike that you can expect. But if
Yes.
someone is switching their job,
Yes.
is there a number to that as well?
Absolutely, there is, and that has now settled to around the 20 to 25% mark,
Oh, so
whereas it used to be 35 to
yes, yes,
40
yes, I remember. 30.
3 to 4 years back.
Hmm.
And you would be aware there were cases where it was much beyond
Right.
that as well. So the average has now settled to a more sedate and reasonable number. And I think it's for the best, because vast hikes create a very inflated scenario which is bound to burst
Right.
at some point in time. So I think we are working in a more balanced scenario right now.
Right. My takeaway from that, Ankit, is ki if you are getting 9-10% hike in your current role and your role is good, so don't switch for only sake of salary hike then, because what you are telling, if
Yes.
20-25%
Yes.
is that I can get in the market,
Yeah.
better stay on to my role. Maybe I can get a promotion here.
Yeah, you can. So the reason for switching jobs has to be more than salary. Salary can be a factor, because let's face it, you do have organizations where your salary grows very slowly because
Right.
they have not adapted.
Huh.
And then you have other organizations where it's more merit based and you can see faster progression, which value your skills more. So it's a fair call if you want to change your role because of salary, but ideally it should not be the only reason, because it's hard to sustain that.
Right.
Yeah.
Ankit, I'd like to double down on one more piece, which is
Yeah.
related to skills. So, audience would also like to know from you what are certain skills which you are seeing are becoming hot skills in the market,
Yeah.
which were not existing 2-3 years back.
Yeah.
And अगर आज I am a working professional, मुझे market में जाना है, what are certain non-negotiable that employers are expecting employees to have?
Absolutely, Shashank. And the skills I briefly touched on earlier, sustainability related skills are definitely new, as in they were, if you go back even 5 years, they were very little in demand. But roles such as public policy, ESG, government affairs, regulatory affairs, these have become much, much more in demand than they were a few years back. And there is a supply and demand mismatch. The
Right.
demand is more than the supply today because you don't have too many educational courses or qualifications centered around these skills yet. It
Uh,
is changing, but it
Traditionally, it has
will.
been tech only, engineering and MBAs,
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely. So this is one new, body of skills which is very much in demand. The second would be legal and compliance. Now, of course, this has been around forever, but the demand has gone through the roof, and this is mainly because of the fast changing regulatory environment. Every company needs to ensure they are compliant, otherwise there are huge penalties or huge issues if you're not compliant. A lot of companies are looking to go public,
Right.
so these roles become very, very important. And other organizations are just trying to ensure that they do the best they can within the regulatory environment that exists. So for all these scenarios, roles in compliance, legal, have become very, very important. Manufacturing is really picking up, right? And I think there's a larger story around it. I'll maybe touch upon it.
Sure, sure.
If you look at the bulk of the young Indian workforce over the last 20 years, where have they been going? They've been going to your IT services
Right.
firms, right? The big IT services firms. We all know the names. But because of increasing AI adoption, the kind of roles that they were going into are shrinking,
True.
right? Also, global markets by and large are struggling, and hence the IT services companies don't have the same appetite to absorb the young workforce as they did some time back.
Right.
On the contrary, there is a huge push on manufacturing. The government is supporting it. A lot of organizations, MNC organizations, and coming out and setting up their manufacturing operations here. So this is creating opportunities for a lot of the younger workforce to go into this line of work.
Right.
It's not something they're used to,
Hmm.
and it's not something as comfortable as being in an IT services firm where you can still
9 to 5
sit in an
job.
office or sit at your home and do the job. Manufacturing takes more work, but this is the future. And if we don't adopt, then we are going to see many issues with the younger workforce.
Got it. Ankit, you work with some of the top employers in the country. If
Yeah.
I look from a candidate's point of view, what are some of the mistakes that candidates should avoid when they are applying for a role, and what kind of candidates generally stand out with these top employers?
Yeah, that's a very important question that you asked, Shashank. So, firstly, I would say here we are in an age of specialization. We are not in an age of general skills, right? So, you need to be very clear as a candidate what is your specialist skill. Yeah, you need to be clear about it. You need to upgrade it, and you need to market it well. When you are writing your resumes or when you're in an interview process, you need to be clear that you're applying for roles basis your specialist skills
Right.
and not basis a general feel good that you
Hmm.
work with good brands or you have a good educational
It will only
qualification.
take you to a little
These
somewhere.
things don't work as much today.
Hmm.
You need specialist skills. So, to come to your question, if you're applying, be clear about your specialist skill, be aware of what is the demand and supply dynamics of that specialist skill, be aware of what are the benchmark salaries
Right.
for that particular skill, and then market yourself basis that skill. This would be my biggest advice today, especially to mid-career professionals who are building their careers. Build your specialization, because this is what is going to carry you forward for the next 10-15 years of your career.
Right. And what about freshers, Ankit? How they should look at this market? Because as rightly told by
Yeah.
you, because of AI, वो entry level roles थोड़े shrink हो रहे हैं.
हाँ जी.
So opportunities are very few for a fresher if you are starting today. How they should look at their career?
बिल्कुल shrink हो रहे हैं शशांक. And if I can draw a picture for you, it's a tough market today for freshers, as well as experienced senior professionals like
Right.
CXOs, right? On one end, with the CXOs, they are worried whether they will be relevant, and they are less and less takers for those big salary packages
Right.
that they're on. On the other hand, when you talk about the freshers, a lot of the skills that they were absorbed into are being replaced by technology, and unless they already come with some degree of specialization, the kind of roles for them are limited today.
Right.
So what can they do? They need to go into educational qualifications which get them ready for a job. It could be vocational, it could be educational courses, but again, avoid general courses,
Right.
avoid specialist courses which make you ready for a job, whatever that job may be. It could be a specialist skill in software technology, it could be a specialist skill in supply chain, it could be a specialist skill in sustainability. But pick your educational courses carefully so that they don't just give you a feel good factor,
Right.
they give you a ready skill which you can use.
Yeah, what I'm hearing from you is that there are many fields coming up. It's just that awareness part is missing, इसलिए लोग अभी उस पे miss out कर जा रहे हैं.
Yeah.
I think one more trend which is picking up, Ankit, is GCC is coming to India and they are paying salaries which are fairly above what traditional IT companies were
Yeah.
paying. But most of these GCCs I also see are setting up in cities such as say Ahmedabad or others. So
Yeah.
GCC is one trend where you also see industry moving, that more and more work will be coming to India, but companies will be having their own facilities where they are doing this.
Absolutely. GCCs is one area where global MNCs are investing a lot in India, because you have talent which is available, language is not an issue, and especially in the tier 2 and tier 3 cities, you have a lot of land available where companies can build big setups. So it will be an area of growth, and a lot of the younger population can also go into this. But GCCs again are all about specialist skills, be it in finance, be it
Right.
in technology, supply chain, HR, etc. So if you want to make yourself marketable to GCCs, again, you need to know your specialist skill. Plus, because you're talking about global MNCs, you need to have excellent communication skills. The softer skills need to be good. If you have some international exposure, that always helps with these global MNCs, because chances are you will be liaising with some
Right.
global stakeholders. But it is definitely an interesting area where you can make yourself very, very marketable today.
Right.
Yeah.
You very interestingly touched upon
Yeah.
global exposure. There are recent changes in
Mm.
H1B visa and system.
Mm.
So, what trend are you seeing at your level? Are more and more global opportunities coming to people sitting out of India, or they have come down, or the market has now shifted, say, from US to Europe to Middle East? What kind of trends
Yeah.
are?
Well, the short answer is yes, there are more global opportunities moving to India in many ways. One, if you look at the GCCs, there are many regional and global roles which exist in the GCCs where
Right.
you could be catering to global markets. For instance, you could be a payroll manager for all of APAC sitting in a GCC in India,
Right.
right? But for that, you need to understand the labor legislations in
Different
every
countries.
local market that you take care of. Now, if you've built up that skill, if you've built up that specialist body of knowledge, then you will definitely be high in demand. Similar examples apply to other fields. So, a lot of the global roles are moving to India through the GCCs, and with every country becoming more and more protectionist,
Right. Self-focused.
nationalist,
Hmm.
a lot of the roles where Indians were abroad, these roles are now moving back to the country. They are again roles in software technology like AI, data sciences, but also roles in the hard technology like manufacturing
Hmm.
related roles, semiconductor
Right.
related roles. So these are now slowly moving back to the country, where a lot of the Indian talent sitting in many locations globally, they are getting more opportunities in India now than they would be getting in other locations, which
Right.
is, I think, a great trend for the country, because you will have some outstanding talent coming back to the country.
Yes, kind of
Yeah,
reverse brain drain, more and more
yeah,
people coming to
absolutely,
India.
absolutely.
Ankit, what is the impact of AI that you anticipate both in short term and in long term? Do you
Yeah.
feel that job market will be drastically impacted, or do you feel that more efficiency will kick in, more roles will come into picture?
Both of the statements you said are correct, Shashank. The job market will be and is already starting to be quite a bit impacted in a way that the kind of skills needed in people are changing, right? I'll give you a simple example. Sales is one of the most common type of roles out
Right.
in the market, right? Every industry has sales roles. Now there's a traditional way of doing sales where you know your target market, you identify your customers, you reach out to your customers, you build relationships, and you do your business. But that is passe now. You have to be able to use technology and AI to smartly be able to reach out to your customers, to smartly be able to bring your proposition in front of them, and then to efficiently monetize
Right.
your relationship with them. And if you don't have that skill, you may be a good old sales professional, but your utility will be less and less in the market. So, in the same roles, the kind of skills which are needed have changed, and that is why it is imperative for professionals at all level to be very tech enabled today. Because if they're not, they're risking their
Right.
jobs becoming redundant, right? So it has changed in a very very big way, and it will. The journey has only started, I would say, in the last 2-3 years. This is going to accelerate at a faster pace in the next 5 years.
So, Ankit, you also talked
Yeah.
about CXO and leadership hiring. Are companies also looking at leaders who come with AI skills to join their organization? Is that also some requirement which is coming?
More and more they are starting to, and that's where the problem comes, Shashank, because people who are at CXO levels, not all, but most of them are in their 40s or 50s,
Resistant to
etc.
change also.
Resistant to change is one thing, but even if they're not resistant, they have not grown up in their formative
Yes, right,
careers
right.
using AI, using technology, right? So it's they don't fundamentally have those skills unless they're learning them
Hmm.
now. But then you have companies which demand that skills, and you have a younger workforce which is much more readily able to use those skills. That's why I said earlier that it's a difficult job market for senior professionals and CXOs today, because they are the ones who need very rapid upskilling today. And if they don't upskill, their takers are lesser and lesser. And many of them are sitting at pretty big paychecks. Yeah. I
Right,
mean,
right.
I've been in the industry for 16 years, like I mentioned. I have many of my partners and associates, very, very senior people, sitting at big paychecks of many crores a year, but because they are not evolving, uh, there are no takers today
Right.
for those kind of salaries and packages. So I think senior professionals need to be very very careful of where their skill sets are going today.
Right.
Yeah,
And as an organization, do you also see impact of AI in recruitment industry, the way you reach out to candidates, the way
yeah,
filtering happens, the way whole hiring? If you can walk us through, that, be really helpful.
absolutely. There's a big impact, and Page is right at the forefront of evolving in this direction. So broadly, you can view recruitment as a transactional element
Right.
and a relationship element.
Right.
Um, Most of the transactional element is now being replaced by technology and AI,
Okay.
where you source the right candidates, you advertise the kind of job that you have, the skills that you need. All that is being automated. So the time that was spent in screening CVs, advertising jobs, sifting through applications, all that is being automated now. And there are different types of automation, right? There are basic technology CRMs or ATSs, as we call them in
Right. Right. Right.
recruitment, and they are much more advanced AI enabled
Hmm.
systems which do that. So the better your technology, the more efficient you're going to be. And the other half of recruitment, which is the expertise, the relationship building, that is something which will continue to be a big focus and will really differentiate a very very competent recruiter from someone who's not.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So, One thing that I also wanted to check base on, Ankit, is say role of ATS. There are many working professionals who follow it, and there is always this dilemma that ATS is some kind of dem, and we just have to work around that system. Apart from resume, what are some of the other skills that people should definitely look at, which can get them more interview calls or maybe more
Sure.
employer attention?
If I can um, answer on a lighter note, if you look at resumes in India, the interesting thing is that it has a lot of self-promoting adjectives.
Spearheaded, conceptual,
Spearheaded, seasoned leader, proven leader,
right?
the best leader, etc., etc. Right. So the first suggestion: do away with your adjectives on your CVs. Make it factual.
Right.
Yeah, because no one reads or no one bothers about those adjectives or
Right,
self
right.
promotions other than yourself, right? So do away with these. Try and have a one-page CV which is very focused on your skills and your achievements
Right.
in whatever stints you've done. Highlight your specializations, as I've touched upon before. Highlight the impact those specializations have made. Highlight how you've evolved, and then you have a better chance of being picked up. It is true that many ATSs will pick up keywords,
Right.
right? So you still want to have your key skills mapped out over there, but that will get you to an interview. But to get the job,
Right.
you need to have the right specializations and skills. So avoid the self promotions would be my biggest
Yeah,
advice.
I think very rightly said, because people stuff too much of this in their resume,
Yeah.
and as a hiring manager, if you see, you can easily call out what is true, what is
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
Ankit, I'd also like to now touch on India's salary guide. I know a lot of work goes behind preparing this. This is a lot
Absolutely.
of work at your teams, and if you can walk audience through how you go about planning it, what is the whole process looking like, how you
Yeah.
gather the data, and then the finally guide is out. It is there for us to review, but would like to know the process.
Yeah. So, one thing we've done as an organization, Shashank, is we've really managed our data and information very carefully throughout our history, both in India and globally. So, in India, we've been around for 15 years now, and we very carefully managed that information in very using market leading CRMs, so much so that we have a vast database today. And this is not a database of names, right? Today you can get names anywhere on
Right.
any social media, but this is a database of important information around these working professionals,
Hmm.
right? This is a database which gives us access to a lot of information about these working professionals, which takes very long to build. This is not something you can create overnight.
Right. Right.
But now, because we've managed this information well over many, many years, we are able to utilize the benefits of it. And coming back to the question on the salary guide you asked, a lot of our salary information comes from the vast database that we have, which is second only to your public job portals.
Right.
No other organization has the size and quality of the working professional database, the white collar working professional database that we have. So that is the primary source. Then, of course, we have our specialists in every field and every practice. They put their inputs on the salaries basis their practical experience. We are talking to candidates on a day to day basis. So we put our practical knowledge into the salary guide. So it's a very practical data set that we bring to our partners, and that's what they appreciate as well. The comments we usually get is that the data in a salary guide is very realistic, practical data, because it's not polished, it's not researched, it doesn't have a objective that it needs to fulfill.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
it is very unfiltered data which our partners really enjoy.
I think honest as well, because the candidates I have
Yes.
spoken to, they have told that when they have used the number during their conversation,
Yeah.
generally lands well with the HR. So it
Yes.
means that
Yes.
there is well research done. I'd like
Yes.
to now double down on white collar professionals. You rightly
Yeah.
told that you operate in that segment. Do you see this category now growing? What is the growth rate of this category, especially white collar professionals in India? Number of jobs, people working.
Look, the white collar professionals are growing at a pretty fast clip. At least 5 to 6%.
Oh, that
Yeah,
is the growth.
because look at the young workforce
Hmm.
that is coming through the ranks, right?
Right.
And the jobs are there, right? Because you have, like I said, the Indian conglomerates expanding, the GCCs being set up, etc. It's just that the nature of jobs
Evolving.
is
Right.
evolving,
Right.
right? Faster than what the educational
Education is
qualifications
right.
are evolving.
Hmm.
So the white collar workforce is definitely increasing and will continue to increase because if I'm not wrong, the median age of the Indian workforce is still around 32 years or
Yeah, yeah.
31, 32
31,
years.
32. Right.
So there's and we have a lot of people coming through the colleges and the educational institutions. So the white collar workforce will only grow. And I think if I can give some advice to young professional coming through the ranks, yeah, be aware of your skills, work on your skills, pick your educational institutions carefully and your courses carefully so that you're job ready. That's the most practical advice I can give to the younger professionals.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think that is really implementable as well.
Yeah,
But I'll talk up from the page group point of view. Where does
sure.
India stand in wider scheme of things? Is this your high growth or maybe high
Yeah.
focus market? What about that?
It is very much both a high focus and a high growth market. It is now amongst our top few global markets
Nice.
because of the size of the market and the fact that it's performing well. It is high growth. So it is definitely a very big focus market for Page Group, and Page is definitely looking to invest in this market in a very robust manner.
Got it. And if I have to give audience a breakdown of page group, so what are sectors that you operate in? How big is the team in India? Would you like to touch base on that as well?
We are about 240 consultants in the country, which for our model of business is already a significant number, but this is fast growing. We can
Right.
see ourselves being much bigger because we've been around for a long time. Our brand is well known and well received, and the market is very big. So this number will grow. We cater to all major sectors, Shashank. So we have specialist practices with specialized both by industry
Okay.
as well as by function. And that mix of functional and industry specialization really makes it a very effective way to do a recruitment business in the country.
Yeah, because then you understand whole candidate psyche 360-degree, plus
Absolutely.
you also understand the expectations of employer as well.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
I'll move to the last question.
Sure.
So, what are certain trends that you are excited about in next 2 to 3 years and that would like to share with the audience?
Yeah, I'm very excited about how the workforce and just the job landscape is changing, Shashank. So, what I can foresee in the next few years is that there will be lesser and lesser permanent jobs in the market.
Okay.
Uh, the definition of loyalty is already changing and will continue to change. Loyalty will not be staying more years in an organization, which makes me slightly uncomfortable as
Same here,
someone.
10 years at
Yeah,
Google. Now I'm
exactly.
also
Right. But,
uncomfortable.
the definition of loyalty is changing. It's more about doing your job well rather than staying for many years in the organization. And why I bring this up is there will be lesser and lesser permanent jobs in the market. There will be more short term skill based engagements
The
between.
fractional CMOs, fractional consultant kind of.
Absolutely.
Right.
Between employers and employees. So the relationship will be more transactional.
Hmm.
I have a need. I have some core stuff which are permanent, but a lot of the other skills I will fulfill through specialists
It's plug
who
and play. You get
plug
people.
and play. They come in for specific assignments, and then I have all the AI to integrate all that, to put all of that together. So that is the future of the workforce and the job landscape, and not like 15, 20 years away. I think this is maybe 5 or 7 years away. So it's changing at a very fast pace. It's pretty exciting. You need to be on the right side of it.
Right,
That's
definitely.
very important.
I think that is a great wake up call for anybody watching this
Yeah.
podcast as well. Ankit has
Yeah.
given you the Mool Mantra and sneak peek into future. But
Yeah.
thank you so much, Ankit, for taking out time. It was great interacting
My
with you.
pleasure. It was a great conversation. Thank you, Shashank.
Thank you.